chopsticks, there's nothing like chopsticks to help Bendy romance along. Four heads start playing and two heads start swaying and two hearts start singing a song. If one of us makes any music mistakes while we're chopping the sticks, no need to get mad, for there's nothing so bad that a couple of kisses can't fix. Let's play together and we'll find out whether we'll ever be really in tune. We don't dare to stop till our hearts go pop, pop while we're chopping the sticks.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Jenny, and we're going to be making some unicorn marionettes today. And as you can see, I have my rainbow earrings on, my unicorn shirts, my unicorn horn, and I'm ready for this craft. So, there are a couple different things you need. There are actually a lot of things for this. And as you can see, I'm getting a little bit better about writing backwards, but I did forget the C in circle. So that says a circle to trace. Awesome, so let's go over all these. So you need some toilet paper roll. So 2 of them. You can use a paper towel roll and just cut it down to the size. You'll also need some string or yarn, a hole punch, a ruler, some tape, some strong tape like masking or painter's tape. Glue, I would suggest using a glue stick and white glue for some of the things. Something to trace, so like a circle that's a bit bigger than your toilet paper roll. So I'm gonna use this Play-Doh. You'll need 2 popsicle sticks, or you can use 2 pencils or just some sticks you find outside. Some scissors, of course. Bendy straws, pasta or beads. I have them all in here. Markers. Yeah, and lots of things to decorate your unicorn. And a totally optional thing is hot glue, which I'm gonna plug in now. Awesome. And of course, some colored paper. Great, so let's get started. Let me move this guy. So we have our unicorn. Yay, so this is what we'll be making. Awesome, so the first thing we're gonna do is we need to make our control. And there are a lot of steps in this craft today, so some of the things I did in advance. So I just took 2 popsicle sticks and I put them together to make like a cross shape. And I just used my white glue and I glued that down. So that's the first step. And while you're waiting for it to dry, you can set it aside. Now, if you're using 2 pencils instead or sticks, you can tie them with some string right in the middle to create that X shape for our control. Awesome. Now, the next thing we need to do is focus on the body. We have our 2 toilet paper rolls. And you can see one of them is already covered in some paper. Now you can cover it in colored paper if you want. If you have paint at home, you can totally use some paint. Another cool thing you can do is do a collage with some tissue paper on top of it, whatever you want. So this is going to be the body, and I already covered this in purple paper. And now I'm going to show you how to do the head. So for the head, you want to cut this down. So I'm just cutting this in half. You can do it in like 2/3 if you want to, however long you want. Awesome, so this is gonna be my head. Now I need to cover this in some paper. So I'm just gonna line up my tube right here and just cut down. Great, and now I'm going to use my glue stick to glue this onto the toilet paper roll. You can use white glue too, it just might take some time to dry. So we're just going to glue this down. And I won't need all this paper. Let's see how much I need. Okay, let's see. Just gonna wrap it around. Just like so. Awesome. All right, and now we can count to 10. But first I'm gonna put a little bit more glue because I'm noticing I just need a little bit more. Great, let's count to 10 to hold it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. So we have our head, we have the body, and we're just gonna put those things to the side for now. So we have our control ready and our body. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to cut out 3 circles that are bigger than your TP circle. So I'm going to use my Play-Doh container here, and you can already see I traced out 2 circles already, and this is going to be for the body. So I used the same color that I used for my body for these circles. And you'll see what we're going to be using them for in a little bit, but let's just get them prepped already. So we have our 2 circles. The next thing we need to trace out is a horn. Now you can use the same circle shape you're using. If you want to make your horn a little bit bigger, you can use a bigger circle. So I'm going to use white, and I'm just going to trace that with a pencil or with your markers. So just tracing. And my circle, and I'm going to cut that out. So this is going to be for my horn. And now the next thing we need to do for this circle is we're going to cut out a triangle on one part of it. So I'm just cutting out a small triangle. So now it looks like this, or maybe like Pac-Man. So this is for our horn. We're going to put that to the side as well. And I'll show you how to do the horn later. Great. So the next thing we need to do is to prep our string. So I have some yarn here I'm going to use. You can also use some twine, whatever you have. And I'm going to use my ruler now. And I'm just going to measure out 2 pieces of string that are 12 inches long. So I'm just going to hold it up to here and just cut one string that's 12 inches and the other. So this is going to be for the legs. Now the next piece we're going to do is you can choose to use the ruler. You want a pretty long piece of string or yarn. And I'm just going to guesstimate how much I need. I think I cut some ones already. So this is about like my arm's length size of string here. And this is going to be for the body that goes up to the control. And I'm just going to put this to the side. So maybe about 40 inches or so. Awesome. Okay, so we have that all set. Now we need to punch some holes in the body and the head. You can use a hole punch, or if you have a pretty sharp pencil, you can use some brute force to make a hole. We're going to start on the body first. So now we need to make 4 holes on the bottom. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in with my hole punch, punch out 1 hole, and now I want the other hole, and it's great because this paper here, where it folded over, is showing me where the middle is. And I'm just going to make another hole right over here. And now we're going to do that to the top, the other side. 1 and 2. So this is the bottom of our unicorn, where the legs will come out of. Now we need to make 2 more holes on top. So go to the top of the body. So the holes are on the bottom for the legs. And we're gonna do 1 hole punch right on top. Make sure it lines up okay. And you're right on top. Okay. 1, and then the other side. And try to make sure that the holes line up on top. 1 and 2. So now we have the holes for our legs and the holes for the top. Great. Now let's go to our head and just prep that. We are going to make 2 holes for this as well. So I'm just going to do the top hole, and I'm not going all the way through with my hole punch. I'm going a little bit closer to the back of the head. So 1, and now we want to do a hole that matches up right down here. So our string is going to feed up straight through. 1 and 2. So we have 1, the other one. You can test and see if you can see through it. So that's the head. Great. So now we are going to feed those 2 pieces of string, the 12-inch string, through these holes on the bottom. So the 2 holes that we made for our legs, this set here. And all I'm doing is taking my string, going up 1 hole, coming through, just like that. And we want to make sure they're pretty even. Now we'll do the same for the other side, the other set of legs. So I'm just going through. So here are the legs. And now you can take your beads or your pasta or your bendy straws, and I'm going to cut down some of my bendy straws because I'm going to use them. So if you don't have beads, bendy straws are great. Pasta's always fun. You can always, you know, use some permanent marker and decorate it however you will. Okay, I'm gonna use some of that. Maybe cut this one down a bit. So I'm gonna use some bendy straws. I have some beads in here and also some ziti. We're gonna use some of the ziti. So now we're just gonna bead our legs. And you can get as super creative as you want with these. Now I'm just beading through. I'm gonna do maybe a little bit of a pattern. So the bendy straw and then the pasta I think is good. And I think that's a good length right there, as you can see. And I'm gonna keep it that length. And once I get the beads I want, I'm just going to tie it off. And you might need to tie it off like 2 to 3 times. You don't want your beads to fall off. You can always hit the bottoms with some hot glue, with some grown-up help, to make sure they stay on. Just tying. It's a pretty good knot. So I have all this excess here, as you can see. I'm just gonna cut that off. And while you're beading, just make sure the length of your string is even on either side. And I just noticed something really silly. My bendy straw went right through the ziti because the ziti's hole was really big. That's okay. You know what? We're still gonna keep going with some ziti instead. I think I'll just make it all pasta on the bottom. So 1, 2. 3. 4. And now I'm just gonna, again, just tie it off. So I notice I need about 3 knots on top of each other. Okay. I told you there's a lot of steps in this one. Great. There's that side. I'm gonna try this side now. And the pasta is really great because it is pretty hard and it does have some weight to it. It makes a nice little clacking sound against the table when you puppeteer. Okay, almost finished. Let's see if my knots will stay. They are staying pretty well. So here are the legs. My legs are not totally even, and that happens, but try to make them as even as possible. And you can always just pull them through. Those are our legs. And now we are going to do the head connected to the body now. This is where you need your really long piece of string. Again, you can always start out with a long piece of string and cut it down if you need to. So for this, I am going to come through and underneath right here. And one end is going to come through the top. And then the other end is going to go through the back of the unicorn. So like this. Now we can add a neck for the head. If you just added this on, the head will just pop through. And that's okay, but I like to add a neck. And I'm gonna use some of my beads for this. If you notice your yarn is fraying a bit and it's hard to put the beads on, you can just snip it. So I'm gonna do a couple beads. My yarn is fraying a lot. Okay. 1, 2, maybe about 4 or so. Now this marionette is great because you can do any sort of other 4-legged creature you want. I've seen really awesome giraffes using this style. Just do a really long neck instead. I think I might do one more. So there's my neck on top. And now you're just going to the top of your string, so where the head is, you're gonna take your head now and just feed that string through. So I'm just pulling it through and coming out at the top. There's our basic unicorn. Now we're gonna add the control. I'm gonna sit back down for this, so hopefully you can see. So I'm gonna get both of my strings about the same length on top. So to do this, I can just, move my string around however I need. And now our control is ready. It's all glued. And we're going to wrap the string around this end and this end. So right here and right here. And you're just gonna wrap it around a little bit and then have some tape ready, some strong tape. I'm gonna have 2 pieces. And you're going to tape the string down onto the control. I know my camera angle is not very wide right now, but I'll show you once I'm done doing this one. So I have it wrapped around and taped onto this part. Now, just matching up the other, making sure our unicorn's upright. And I'm just gonna tie it around the top. And it might be a lot easier to have some help with this if someone holding the control for you. And great. So I tied it up on top and taped it down. And we have our unicorn. Yay! Now we're gonna add a couple more things to this before we can start decorating. So go back to your circles. We need our 2 circles for the body that we cut out. And you're just gonna snip little, like about a ½ inch or so, little snips around the circle. If you can see that. So now that can fold over really well. We're basically covering the whole of the toilet paper roll. So fold it down a little bit. Now we're gonna do the other one. Just little snips around and fold it. Great, so there's that one. And this one And now we're going to add that. So we're gonna add one over this using some glue. You can use white glue, the hot glue works great as well. And then we're gonna add one to the front of the body, down here. And I'm gonna use my hot glue for this. For now, I'm just going to have my unicorn rest a bit. There's my glue stick. So if you're gonna use a hot glue gun, make sure you have some grown-up help. So I'm just putting it here and I'm gonna smooth it out around toilet paper roll. I'm noticing I need a bit more glue. Pressing it down so it stays. A little bit more. Awesome. And I can trim some of the things that are poking up a bit. So we have a covering. And now we're gonna do the same thing for the back. The other day I counted to see how many unicorn things I have in my home because I love unicorns. And I had to stop counting after 100 because I have a lot of unicorn things. Okay. Awesome, so now we have the head and there's a covering here and a covering on the front. And at this point, you can start decorating, but I'll show you how to use some yarn for some hair. You can do yarn, you can do hair out of paper if you have that, if you don't have yarn. So I cut out some yarn and I'm just gonna fold it in half. And this is what I'm going to glue around the head. And I'm gonna do it right around here to leave some space for my horn. The white glue works great for this too. Gluing it around, and now I'm going to add my horn. So we had this piece already cut out, this Pac-Man piece. And all we're going to do is we're going to start from one corner, and we're just going to roll it into a cone shape. So all I'm doing is, you can see I'm rolling it around, trying to get to the other side. And I already got there, so I might cut it off a little bit. And I'm just gonna glue that together. The white glue works great for this too. Right. There is our unicorn horn. You can decorate this with markers if you like. And now I'm just gonna snip just a little bit around on the bottom. We want to make sure it can connect to the head. And I'm just fanning out all these little cuts I made. And I'm going to put glue on these parts here. We have our horn. This unicorn's coming together, it's so magical. And now we can do some mane on the back. And for the stuff on the back, I'm just going to, instead of like folding it in half like we did for the head, I'm just gonna take some yarn I already cut off, that's about the same length, and I'm just gonna fold it down. And I'm gonna put glue right on this part here. And I'm just putting it right on top, but not covering the hole in the back. You need that. Oh, it's really getting there. It's so magical. Now at this point, this is the really fun part. Well, the whole thing was fun for me. Is to decorate your unicorn. Now, you can add some eyes. And I'm gonna do some googly eyes that I have. Found these ones. Do some eyes on the side. And another eye on the other side. Make sure they match up pretty well. Okay. Just gonna trim down. This unicorn is very magical. This fell off again. Okay. And then you can add some things with some markers. I'm gonna do nose. Just cleaning up some of the hot glue. And I think the top needs a little bit more on it. 1, 2, 3. Okay. We have our head. Maybe a little smile. Some other things you can use for the hair too, and I forgot to say this, is if you have some wool, some colored wool, this works great too. You can use some foam stickers or shapes for the body to decorate. And then I think the last thing I'm gonna do for this one, I have this whole huge sticker book, and I have some rainbows in here. I'm gonna put some rainbows on. Rainbow on the other side. There's rainbows all over. And now this is, let me just fix the hair. Here is our Unicorn Marionette. And now for the control, you can just do a bouncing motion to get it to gallop. When you bring the top part of this control downward, you can do a little grazing. So magical. And that's it. That's our wonderful Unicorn Marionettes. Thank you for tuning in and sharing and liking all of our workshops. We do them every day. We have a new one tomorrow at 4 p.m., so check that out. And we will be doing a different themed week. So this is our last Craft of Mythical Creatures week. I hope you enjoyed all the different monster-y creatures and fun magical beast we made. And we also have a lot of offerings on our website. We are doing puppet telegrams and live chats, so check that out on wondersparkpuppets.com. We are also doing a raffle weekly, so a raffle ticket is just $10, and you can purchase one on our website. And we will be raffling off a live, private live stream of a show for you, which is really awesome. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Jenny, and I love unicorns, and thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.